Hello everyone and welcome back to API Test Hub. So in the previous video, we saw that how we can test the post products endpoint to create the products. So we saw the successful scenarios, the positive test cases. So in this video, we will be covering all the negative scenarios which are possible for this particular endpoint. So here you can see that I have already created different test cases for the endpoints. Actually, I've created for all the endpoints. So we will be covering here the negative test cases for create products endpoint, that is a post call. So let's begin. So here you can see I have created the very first one is with the missing mandatory fields. So we can see from the Swagger that in the request body, name, price and quantity are the mandatory fields. So what if I don't pass these fields? So what will be the behavior of the application? It should not process my request, right? So that should be the behavior, as well as the message should be valid. So if I'm not passing name, it should give me the message related to name. If the price is not there, then message should be related to price. So if everything goes well, my test will be passed. Otherwise, I will create a bug for that. So let's begin. So we will be using Postman. So what I will do is I will create a duplicate request of my previous request, and I move it to the this negative scenarios folder, and I will rename it to TC203. So everything will be same, but here what we will do is, first of all, I won't pass the name. So let's see what happens if I'm not giving the name, the mandatory field. So yeah, it is giving me 400 bad request, which is a valid response code I should be receiving. And with the for valid message as well, that mandatory field product name is missing or invalid. So the next part is, so let's give it back. Maybe the laptop this time we will create. Next, what if I don't pass the price? So let's see what happens. So yeah, I'm getting mandatory field price is missing or invalid. So let me give price as negative as well. So it should not process. Yeah, it's not processing because it's saying it's an invalid. So let it be. And what is the third one? That is the quantity. So let's give quantity as a null. It's also a mandatory header. It's giving me 400 bad requests, which is a valid response code, but you can see it here in the message. I'm getting field price is missing, which is not correct, right? So if I'm missing the quantity, I should get the message as mandatory field quantity is missing or invalid. So this is a bug in the application. So I will create a bug for this particular functionality, and rest everything I'll mark as passed. So here I will pass what scenarios are passed, name and price, but for quantity it is giving invalid message. So we will create a bug for that in the next video. So I'll cover the bug cycle and everything in the next video. So here we will just test as of now. So what I'll do is I'll mark this as, you can do the text color as green or whatever you want. I'll mark it as red as of now, and this as green. So yeah, so this one is done. So coming towards the next one is mandatory headers. So we know from the Swagger that these both headers are mandatory. So let's see what happens if I don't pass these headers. So let's save this first and make another duplicate request with TC204. So I'm creating different test cases, because so that whenever I come back, I can check here the what are the test cases I have done. So what if I don't pass the headers? So this time I'm not passing the headers. Let's test it. So yeah, I'm getting 400 bad requests with a valid message that your headers are missing. So both of the headers are mandatory. So I need to pass them to make the successful call. So this one is also passed. Next comes the invalid price. So invalid price means I can pass the negative value. So I have already tested this part in this one, right? So I can rename. I passed minus 1200 and it was giving me valid error. So I will rename it as this and TC205. So both were covered during this testing, right? So we will mark it as passed as well. So see, it's when you do one testing, you are covering the other things as well. So next comes my test case 6, that is unauthorized access. That is when I'm not authorizing my request, and what should be the error when I'm not passing the token. So let's see what happens in that case. So let's duplicate the request and rename it as TC206. So at this time, I'm passing everything. Headers are there, but this time I'm not authorizing it. So I should be getting 401 unauthorized, which is a valid response code that authorizing you need to provide the token to get access to the API. So this is also working as expected. So we will save this test case and move ahead. So you can mark it as passed. Next comes conflict with error message. So what is the conflict here? So we are seeing that so you should not be able to do the duplicate product entries. So let's do the duplicate product entries. So let's first of all make a duplicate copy of this and rename it as test case 7. Now, in the body, what I'll do is, so I can see it here, same product I have added before as well, right? iPhone 12, the price 1200, iPhone 14 Pro Max with quantity 1. So you can see it here, everything is same, nothing is different, right? So it should not, my application should understand that I cannot add it right now. So it should behave, it should give me some kind of error. So let's see, I'm able to create this product or not again. So let's see. So yeah, I was able to create, which is a not valid scenario. So if I'm adding the same product again, it should not allow me to do that, right? It should be different with some things. Either I should give the version number or something like that. So let's mark it as failed and we will raise a bug for it. So these kind of scenarios you can think of while testing. Like if you have already added the same product, right? Why you can add the same product again and again. So that is kind of a bug in the application. Next, so we have already tested these scenarios, right? So next comes the the test case 8th. That is, what if I'm providing the ID in the request body, right? So if I go back to my Swagger, I can see that in the request body I don't have any ID here, right? So I'm not supposed to pass the ID. So what if I pass the ID, and if I see the ID here, right? So if I'm not referring the Swagger, I can copy everything from here and use it in my request body. But it's not expecting ID from me to pass in the request body. What if I pass it? So it shouldn't go through, right? Because application is built in a way that it shouldn't process the ID in the request body. So what if I pass it in my request body? So I should get a valid error. So let's do that and pass the ID here. So I'll pass ID as maybe 6. Let's see what happens. So yeah, I'm getting 409 conflict error that you cannot pass ID while creating a product. So either you can refresh or try again. So I cannot pass ID because maybe ID is being generated automatically every time. So that is why it's not written in the Swagger as well to pass it through the request body. So we can see it here. This test case is also passed. So you can see the expected outputs, right? The response codes. So they are valid response code, which should be like expected whenever you are testing. Next comes the empty request body. So what if I don't pass the request body at all? So let's save this first and create our last test case, that is TC209 with no request body. So here we are passing everything, right? So let's comment our body. So we are not passing any body, and body is mandatory. We can see it from the Swagger, like this is mandatory. So we need to pass it to make our request to go through, right? So let's send it. So yeah, it's 400 bad request, like your request body is missing or invalid, which is a valid test scenario, and it's giving me valid error message as well. So this test cases also I can mark as passed. So you can mark it as passed. Let's make it green. So yeah, so here you can see that we have tested our all the possible scenarios for create products, and in here we have seen that two of our cases has not been passed, they failed. So we need to create bug for those test cases, right? So in the next video we will create the bug and we will learn what is the bug life cycle, like how it's created and what are the different steps a bug has to go through. So we will see all those things in the next video, and we will see how we can create the bug and how we can assign those bugs. So this was about the testing of create products endpoint, and in the upcoming videos we will do the testing of our other endpoints, that is get, put, and delete. So stay tuned and keep learning for more things. Thank you so much for watching.